Jo and welcome back to the Knitting Bird. I'm coming to you for a very hot sunny day in Plymouth Devon. There's a little bit of breeze but not much at all. So today's video I'm gonna talk about a couple of whips I've been working on, where I've been out and about, some purchases I've made as well. But I thought I'd just give you a little introduction of myself, because I've had quite a few new subscribers in the last month. So as I said, my name's Jo and I'm from Plymouth in Devon. I have 3 children, a husband. I don't work, I'm a stay-at-home parent. So I have 2 boys, 2 older boys. One lives at home still, and the other one that has moved out and got his own place now. And he has a little girl called Hazel, and my little granddaughter. And my little girl is 12 and she has additional needs. But she's doing really well. She's just got into secondary school in September, and she's a little bit more communication, and yeah, she's doing really well. So that and I started knitting in lockdown. My mum made a lot of she was a seamstress by trade before she had me and my sister, and she made all my school uniforms, so my shirts and my school skirts, and I went to school in secondary school with a knitted jumper, and back then it was a horrible thick Aran weight jumper that everyone laughed at me for wearing it. It was one of those jumpers where you just go, nah, no one should be wearing that. But that was back in the 80s, so I suppose you can get away with it. So in lockdown I was a bit bored. I was scrolling on my phone a lot, so I decided to ask my mum to teach me to knit and purl, and it's gone from there. I learned, she didn't teach me how to read a knitting pattern or anything like that. She just basically told me to knit and purl, and I sort of googled the rest and went on lots of YouTube channels to find out how to read a pattern and what everything means. And so it just begun from there, and it's just spiraled a bit out of control. My family will say I'm a bit obsessed with knitting, but there you go. I knit every day when my daughter's at school. I take socks to the beach. So yeah, I knit quite a bit. So that's a bit about me. And thank you all for joining me. I'm now at 91 subscribers. I can't believe it. It's unreal, but in a really good way. And on a previous podcast, I said, if I reach to 100, you might be able to win an emotional support chicken. I haven't quite started knitting them yet, and they don't take long to knit. I think I've knitted 10 emotional support chickens now. No, I haven't. I've knitted 11. So I know the pattern basically off by heart. I don't really have to count stitches or anything now. It's a lot of wrap and turns for emotional support chickens if you've never made one. It is a paid for pattern, so I can't really tell you much about how it works really, because it's a paid for pattern, but it's a really good pattern if you're interested in wanting a chicken to hug. And talking of chickens, I've only got one left today. My other chicken has gone to a new home. I knitted it for a friend of ours, and they're going through a bit of trouble at the moment, so he hadn't picked it up, so my husband had went around and gifted it to him, and he was very delighted to get his chicken so he could hug his chicken. I just love making them, they're absolutely fabulous, so I'm going to have to make some more. So I've got another chicken for Hetty. So yeah, so I thought, so that's a bit about me and what I've been sort of, my life and sort of how it pans out. So I've been knitting really lots on my Pouf cardigan, so I shall show you that now. I'm so pleased with it. This is the Pouf. I haven't done the sleeves baggy as that. And of course it's in my shoes knitting bag. So as I've said on previous podcasts, that I wanted to finish the sleeves because I was really quite worried that I was going to run out of yarn, and as it takes it, I've still got 3 balls of 50 grams left and this bit, and I've nearly finished the sleeve. So it looks like I've got enough to finish the body of the cardigan and do the ribbon and put pockets in, because I wanted to put some pockets in anyway. I always forget to put pockets in, but I like putting an insert of a pocket in. So this is King Cole's Merino blend. Let me see, it's a Merino blend DK. 96 pure new wool and 4% viscose. It's a really nice wool actually, really soft. It's a superwash wool, and I do believe it's going to stretch out when I block and wash and block it. I was watching Jo Knits, and she'd made a cardigan for a sister in a superwash wool, and it just ballooned out loads. I'd like it to balloon out, but maybe not loads, so I'm gonna have to be really wary when I go and block it. But as you can see, this is one sleeve, and I love the sleeves. They are coming up a bit short, but it's gonna block out for definite. So that's one sleeve. And this is the other. I'm so close. So if I put the sleeves together, there we go. I've got about that much to go. Last night I was knitting along, and I've got to 74 stitches. I've got to increase to 76 to match the other sleeve. And then all I have to do is knit a few plain rows, decrease it so it cinches it in, and then do, I think it's 10 rows of ribbon. And the length of it, I haven't touched the length since I started it. Well, since I started the sleeves, sorry. I would like it to be about 4 more inches longer than that. But it's in the right place to be able to put a pocket. If you can see that, I'm going to put a pocket in here. So basically with pockets, and I don't know if anyone's knitted a pocket without the pattern telling you to knit a pocket, it's quite simple really. You just got 20 stitches, say you cast on 20, you want 20 stitches is the size that maybe you want for your pocket. You only want like a small pocket. Do 20, cast on 20 stitches, and you're doing a lining, so it will be in the back of your garment. And so basically what you do, and I haven't done a pocket for a long time to be fair, but I do, it's quite simple when you know how. So you do 20 stitches, and you do like a little liner, which will be like a little tension, like if you do a tension square, but you do 20 stitches and then knit it for as long as you want that pocket to be on your garment. And basically what you do is you, at the bottom of your, where you want it, you knit along to where you want the pocket to go. You put your 20 stitches, say it was 20 stitches, onto a stitch holder, and then you knit the pocket lining, so you put them on hold, and then you knit from the pocket lining 20 stitches, and then you carry on knitting to the other side, and then afterwards you just sew it in. You'll have to knit the garment as long as you've knitted the pocket. lining. And then afterwards, the bit that you've kept on hold on the stitch holder, you do a little bit of ribbon and then you sew in the top of the pocket onto the garment. So it's really good, because if you were doing a cabled cardigan and you wanted a pocket put in, you don't have to do the cabled bit. You're not doing the front bit of the pocket, you're only doing the lining of the pocket. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to insert, or I'm going to do a pocket lining. I do like to add more work for myself, but that's my second sleeve. I'm so pleased with it. I really love it. I love the colour. It is, I said on previous podcasts that this is a bit here, it's a bit clipped to my body, and I've got small arms at the top, so I'm hoping that that will block out a little bit as well. So tonight I shall finish that sleeve. Super chuffed with that, and then I can do some little pockets. I don't want them big pockets. I just want like a little patch pocket. I suppose 20, and do 20 rows, so about 5 inches, 4 or 5 inches. I don't want them big, because sometimes the bigger the pocket, it pushes the weight of the garment, goes down. But yeah, about 4 or 5 inches I think would be great. And of course the other thing, I've been knitting on my son's Gansey, but it's no point showing you, because I haven't really got much to show you, to be fair. I've done about ½ an inch, and his initials, you can see his initials coming up, but I haven't completed the initials. I think I've got about 3 rows to go to complete the initials of my son's Gansey, which is the claret, the red one. I've been taking that to knit groups and just knitting around and around, so that's great. And then on Sunday, I believe, I finished the neck of my brother-in-law's Gansey. So, and I picked up for sleeves, and I'm so chuffed. I even went upstairs and showed my husband and tried the Gansey on. It's massive on me, but I just wanted to see how it looked on. So here, and you can see, I finished the rib. It's 15 rows of rib. And there we go, is the 3 needle bind off the little gusset and then into the ribbon. Doesn't take long. I love it. I might have to insert a photo at the top, but yeah, you can see that there. And I've started a sleeve. Now I picked up the stitches 144. If I do it that way, you might see it a bit better. I picked up 144 stitches, so 72, and then 72. And I showed my husband yesterday, and from that, oh, it's heavy. From that red stitch marker here, I've done all that, and I'm hoping you can see I've done the other part of the gusset. I've got to do this until I've reduced it to 1 stitch, which will be the fake seam going right down, so it will follow. I hope you can see. It will have a fake seam, goes out, comes in, and then there's a fake seam going along the sleeve. Oh, super happy. So after filming today, I shall sit out in the shade in the garden, which is what I did yesterday, in a camping chair, listen to my audiobook and crack on. I've got a long way to go, but I'm just reducing every 4th row 2 stitches, and then every 5th row 2 stitches until I get to 91 stitches, and then I just knit until 19 inches. Do the ribbon, which is 30 rows of ribbon, and then done, and then on to the next one. I am thinking of buying some more of these needles, so I can, when I'm halfway down this sleeve, I can just pick up the sleeve stitches for the other side. It takes me a good while to pick them up. It's quite hard on my hands when I pick them up. I pick up stitches quite tightly to make sure that they're picked up properly, especially on such a large garment. Super happy. Oh, unless you can see the sleeve, you can see the sleeve there now. Yay! Yep, super happy with that. So I think it was on my last podcast that I was saying I had 4 weeks to complete 2 sleeves. I have not, I told lies, I'm sorry. My daughter breaks up for school on the 22nd of July. So I've got this week, next week, and a couple of 3 days, I believe, because she breaks up on the Wednesday after school, and she goes in on the Wednesday of the 22nd. So that's the only time I've got, and I do believe I said I could knit a sleeve in a week. I'm not sure that's going to happen because it's so warm, but what I end up doing is I fold up the Gansey so it's flat like a parcel, and then I knit it with it like that, because if you knit it with it open, it's just too hot for it all to be on your lap. Way too hot. So that's the only things really I've been knitting on. I have knitted a bit of my sock, but not much. I'm onto the heel, but we haven't really been out in the car that much, and I haven't really felt like picking up sock knitting in the car, which is unusual for me. Perhaps it's because I just want to get on with the Gansey and try and get it finished. I'm trying to now find a presentation box I can put it in when I gift it to him. He is so excited to be receiving it, and I'm quite excited that I'm on sleeves now, that I can get quite a bit of it done. And then hopefully in the summer holidays we can meet up, and my father-in-law, we'll probably meet at my father-in-law's, so we could all we can have like a big not a celebration, well, yeah, I suppose you could call it a celebration, because I finished the Gansey, and yeah, to present it to him. And I think he said he'd like to come on my podcast, because when I said to him I was doing a podcast and showing people how I've knitted the Gansey and how much I do in a week and that sort of thing, he was over the moon, and he said, I'm not going to subscribe until you finished it, and then I'll watch it back. So he'd like to see it stage by stage of how it was knitted. So that's really good, and I'm pleased he's happy with that. It's nice to document how you've gone through a project, and people can see how far you've done and how much knitting you can get done in a week, really. So yeah, that's all the knitting this week. So a bit about what I've been up to this week. Sunday just gone, I went to knit group, and if you'd watched the last podcast, my friend Harry had dropped some stitches on a fisherman's rib jumper on the sleeve, on a decrease round. Oh, sorry, not a round, on a decrease row, and she was holding two yarns together, a mohair and a I believe it's a DK weight yarn and a mohair together. And I showed her how to do it, and she was over the moon. Oh my God, she was like praising me up. Thank you for showing me how to do it. I was like, no, it's not a problem. So I went on Sunday, got a cup of tea, went to sit down. The other girls were there, but Harry hadn't turned up yet. I went to the toilet, went to the bathroom, come back, and Harry was there, and she was one end of the table and I was the other end of the table. She went, "Oh, hello Joe, just the person." I went, "Okay." I've dropped another 4 stitches on my jumper. I went, "Oh no, no." She said 3, and or was it 2? She'd held in place 2 stitches, but actually in theory she dropped 4. I said, "Right, okay, don't panic, let's sit together and work it out." But I said to her, "I'm not going to do it for you, because I think sometimes you have to do it." I was there to guide her so that she could then do it herself. Because I think sometimes you have to just go straight in and try to do it yourself. And if there is an issue and you're not quite getting it, I'll be there to help her. So that's what I did. So she had put safety stitch markers to hold the stitches, so because else it would have just laddered down. She did have a safety line, and she hasn't took that safety line out, but she'd knitted about 2 inches of work. So I said, right, so I told her what to do and how to do it, and she did it, and then she went, "Oh, hang on a minute, there's another drop stitch, then there's another drop stitch." So there was 4 drop stitches in the end, and we managed to do it. We counted the stitches, and she managed to gain an extra stitch. So I think the pattern was knit 2 together, pass a slip stitch over, so that's 3 stitches decreased, and then at the end it was knit 3 together. And I think what she was doing was knitting the 3 together, but then when she was doing the fisherman's rib, she wasn't concentrating on how the pattern looked, and she patterned it wrong, basically. So we worked out how and why she was dropping the stitches, and then she was back on track, and she said to me, "Oh my God, thank you so much. Did you give me a massive hug?" I said, "Oh no, you're very welcome." I said, "But I didn't do anything. I just sat there and watched you. You did it all." And she went, "Well, yeah, I suppose I did." So it's that confidence thing, isn't it? When you go to drop a stitch and then you don't know how to correct it. And if you're not being shown, sometimes it's difficult when you just need, even if you watch a video, you could watch it 3 or 4 times and still think, "I don't understand how they do that." So I like to have someone in person to show me, "This is how I do it. Oh, I get it now." And then you can sort of, next time you can do it yourself because you know how to do it. I like to see it in person. So yeah, so that happened, and then I went to knit group Monday just gone, and that was nice. I just sat and knitted on my Pouf cardigan trying to get the sleeve done, so I'm happy with that. Me and my husband had breakfast. There's a community hall across the way of the community hall. There's a breakfast lunch cafe place, and we had some breakfast before I went to my knit group, so that was nice on Monday. And he went fishing for the day, and he had a brilliant time fishing. He caught 12 bass. So he was buzzing. He was really, really happy. He come home with a big smile on his face. He couldn't bring any home because with bass you have to have them a certain measurement. I think they've got to be over 46 centimetres for you to bring home. If it's under 46 centimetres, you're not allowed to bring them home. So I think these were quite small because he didn't bring any fish home. But he had fun along the way anyway. So he went out with his mate, Bassman, who's a YouTuber. So if your husband's like fishing, go check him out. He's got quite a big follower now. He's a good laugh. He's a good laugh. I've knitted him hats and stuff. His logo's like bright neon green. So I've knitted him a lot of, I've knitted him a hat and a cowl for the winter. Just have a bit of drink of tea. Yeah, so that happened, and then last Friday, me and my husband had a day to ourselves. What we try and do before the summer holidays break up, because my little girl's got additional needs, she is full on. You just got to watch her all the time, and she's unaware of sort of danger, and if we're on the beach you've just got to be watching her all the time and playing with her and entertaining her. So when we have time to ourselves, we've got this week, next week, and as I said, a couple of days, and then it's full on with Annabelle. So last week we decided we'd go to Looe in Cornwall. Now, I haven't been to Looe in Cornwall for a couple of years now. It's about 3/4 of an hour journey there. Yeah, about 3/4 of an hour. You have to go across the Tall Point ferry, which goes from Plymouth across the ferry into Cornwall, and then we drive to Looe. It was a really lovely day. We bought some pasties from Sarah's pasty shop, which are the best pasties in Looe. And we sat on the beach and had a cup of tea and a coffee, and he said I could really eat one of those pasties now. I said, yeah, so could I, but I'm not, because the seagulls, as soon as they see food, they're there. They are everywhere. Baby seagulls and adult seagulls, they are everywhere on that beach. There was one seagull trying to get into a lady's handbag, which she didn't have anything in there. She'd gone for a swim, and my husband was throwing rocks at the bag to scare the seagull off. And then at one point, this couple behind us, a young couple, was sat on the beach, and I think he threw a bit of his crust of his pasty or something away, and these seagulls just swarmed on him. And the young girl, she had a bit of a fright. She was like, oh my God, and got up very quickly. So it was nice. We looked around the shops and we had a bag of chips, and then my husband went, oh, I find that there's a yarn shop close by. And I went, oh, yes, please. So it's called The Hive, and it's near Looe in Cornwall. So we decided to go on the way back. As we went to go to get the parking, they were closed, and I was gutted. And I looked through the window, and there was some really nice yarn in there. I think there was acrylic and expensive skeins of yarn. So I was like, oh, so they're shut. I think they reopen this week. I think they reopen today. So we're gonna look to go next week. I really wanna go to that yarn shop. Not that I need any more yarn, but hey, I can treat myself now and again, can't I? I just have to get the time in to knit on them. That's the thing. My cupboard is absolutely full. So yeah, so we went there, and it was really nice. I had a really lovely day, and we just come home and just had a chill out evening. So yeah, it was really nice to be able to go to these places, suss it out before we take our daughter, because she doesn't like loud noises and stuff. So if it's really busy and we know she might not like it, so we try and like source out where we're going on the summer holidays before we take her. So we go, oh yeah, Annabelle will like this, or she won't like this, and then we know, so we're not getting into trouble when it gets to go into these places. I'm just looking at my notes. Yeah, so that's been my week, and I am going to put some photos at the end, or videos at the end of my husband was videoing me in Looe, knitting on my son's Gansey. So I shall put that in the end, and you'll see a thumbnail at the beginning of me knitting on my son's Gansey in Looe, so that'll be nice. So stay to the end for that. The other thing, I've been naughty and I did make a purchase this week. I think it was on Tuesday evening. So I was looking on Instagram, and Hooked and Happy, Jo from Hooked and Happy, hello Jo, she posted or reposted this lady has just started out to dye yarn, and I went, oh, I like that, I'll have a look. She's called Heather, and she's called Heather the Surrey Knitter. On Instagram she's called the Surrey Knitter, and she's called Heather. So hello Heather, and hello, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. I had a message yesterday or this morning, sorry, I think, that my parcel is due tomorrow. That's really good service, so thank you Heather, that's really, really good. The themes of the colourways of the socks were about ice lollies. So I bought one called Sprinkle Pop, and that's in the UK they're called fabs, fab ice lollies, where they're red and white and then they've got sprinkles on the top. But I think in America they're called Sprinkle Pop, I think, I don't know. And then the other one I bought was Twister, and I love Twister ice cream, so I bought both of those, and they were reasonable priced as well, so you must go check her out. Really, really good. And the postage, I mean, I live in the UK and the postage was £4, so really good value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give, when I receive it tomorrow, I'm going to do a little short about receipt, and I'm going to open them up and do a little short when I open my gift up. When the purchase comes tomorrow, I shall do a little short for you all, so you can see the colourways that I bought. And she had she had a Ko-fi account, so I bought it, and it went through on Ko-fi. So I decided last night, and I didn't realise it was free. I know a lot of YouTubers have this app, Ko-fi, and you can tip your creators. So I decided to sign up. So I'm not selling any products or anything like that on there. It is just like a tip where you can tip me some money for a coffee, or for me to have a coffee now and again. You don't have to tip me. It's just there if you wish to. And it's on the front page of my channel, and you just click on more, and there will be a link for it there. I managed to set it up and do the link, so I was so proud of myself last night, because I'm not very technical. My 21 that lives here, he knows all about that, but he was at work, so I managed to do it myself. So when he got home last night, he tipped me in the Ko-fi, so I was well chuffed last night. Yay, thanks John. He's a darling. I love him to bits. He's just gone off to the gym, and my husband's just gone off to buy wood, or look at prices of wood, because he's building us a summer house. It's going to be mainly my knitting room, so when it's hot and I've had enough of everyone in the house and I need a bit of peace and quiet, I'm going to go in my knitting room. Because last night I sat in my knitting chair in the dining room, and my daughter just wanted me constantly last night. Mummy this, mummy that, please, please, please. And I went, what now, Annabelle? And she spilt my tea all over the floor, all on her. Thankfully it was cold. I've got a habit of not drinking all my tea and leaving a little bit at the end, but this was more than I thought was in there, and it was all over the floor. Oh no. So yeah, so he's building a summer house, and he's been doing it in the heat of this weather, the nutter. So yeah, that's it for today. So thank you everyone for subscribing. I'm still blown away that everyone sits and watches me. But it's been amazing, and I do like sitting and talking to to you all, and love reading all your comments. So please like, subscribe. If any of you are new here, please like and subscribe, and comment. I will reply to all the comments. I love receiving comments from you all. Yeah, so on that, and I shall see you next week on the next one. So take care for now, and happy knitting. Bye for now. Bye.